Imagine sending a child to piano lessons, asking them to sight read a new song while a ticking stopwatch sits on the keys. The teacher grades how fast they play, ignores the mistakes, and then never lets them play that song again. We would fire that piano teacher immediately. Yet we often teach reading using these same methods. By prioritizing speed drills, we train students to treat reading as a race, losing the joy of the story along the way. Or we rely on another common routine, round-robin reading. This is where kids take turns reading one paragraph aloud while the rest of the class follows along. In practice, very little reading happens. Most kids are simply counting ahead to figure out which paragraph will be theirs, practicing it silently to avoid public embarrassment when their turn finally arrives. Real fluency combines accuracy, an appropriate pace, and the expression, or prosody, showing they understand the meaning. Blasting through a paragraph in a flat monotone demonstrates speed alone. Fluency requires the expression and phrasing that show a reader actually understands the words. When we prioritize the stopwatch, we miss the chance to teach the phrasing that connects a child to the story. Cognitive scientists like Daniel Willingham have looked closely at why a student can read an entire page out loud and remember absolutely nothing about the story. It comes down to a brain bandwidth budget with limited cognitive energy. If a student puzzles over unfamiliar words, decoding consumes their entire mental budget, leaving nothing for meaning. True fluency makes recognition automatic, freeing that bandwidth entirely for comprehension. Fluency is the mechanical engine that makes comprehension possible. It frees up the cognitive space required to actually process the story. The National Reading Panel found that exposing struggling readers to a high volume of new, unfamiliar text every day backfires. Without repetition, they are perpetually starting over. The solution is a 5-day rhythm that replaces standard oral reading blocks. Instead of many texts read once, students use one short, meaningful text for the entire week. On Monday, the teacher reads aloud with full expression. Students follow silently, finally hearing the natural rhythm and phrasing of the passage. Tuesday is for echoing. The class reads phrases back to the teacher, learning to group words into meaningful units, building the natural rhythm of a fluent reader. Wednesday brings partner practice. Students pair up to read the same text simultaneously. They get massive amounts of repetition in a low-stakes setting, using a simple feedback rule. Did it sound like reading or talking? By Thursday, the repetition gains a real purpose. Students perform the text as a reader's theater script or record audio for the class library. Friday is a brief reflection, a relaxed 30-second check-in with the teacher to celebrate how smoothly the student can now read the passage. Every student gets multiple guided encounters with rich text, receiving feedback at every stage without the risk of public humiliation. National reading scores have remained largely stagnant, and researchers highlight a lack of fluency as a structural block to learning. When a child's mental energy is consumed by the mechanics of the page, they struggle to engage with history, science, or literature. Making this shift requires no extra prep time or new curriculum. It simply reallocates the existing reading block to focus deeply on mastering one passage at a time. We move away from the student staring at a ticking timer and toward a reader who confidently masters the words on the page. Focusing on the rehearsal and mastery of a text, giving students both the model and the time to get it right, builds readers who actually want to start the next chapter.